Good Tuesday afternoon. It's high speed and overload herself, mowing the lawn, mowing Grandma's lawn. Alright, buckle up, because I know it's been 10 days, whatever it's been since I done a video. The last one I think was titled Slightly Pissed Off. Well, we're more than fucking pissed off now, so wonder if I should use that as a title. I don't know. You'll have already seen the title. 5115M. Alright, just so you know, why is these certain things sitting here? Wash the sprayer up, wash the 6420 up. She's still hot. I don't care what you say. Got that winterized. Actually found some, RV antifreeze at Tractor Supply. It's hard to find it this time of year. It's August 1st, by the way. Got the pump put away. Got that stored where I store it in the shop. Drained the water tank. But anyways, the 5115M 2012 pre-def, but not pre all the other Greta bullshit. So I was sitting here in front of the next to the anhydrous tank, in front of the propane tanks. I start it up. It immediately starts giving me this, exclamation point flashing sign and says it's regenerating. Okay, well, they don't regenerate like that when you first start them up, but we're going back inside where it's a little cooler and a little shady because it's hot. And yes, I'm smoking one of my cigars because I'm pissed. So I go over to the water tank, hooked onto it, pulled it up onto the old Haymow hill there so I could get the last of the water out, having it facing downhill, draining. Still regenerating, still regenerating. I pull out from there to come over here, so what are we talking? Less than 100 yards? The engine derates. I mean, I'm like crawling down the road. So that's where I parked it. So I left it running. Generally 10-15 minutes tops they regenerate. Nope. Still flashing. Regeneration light still on. So I turn it to manual regen to force a regeneration. Half an hour later, still on. Still regenerating, supposedly. So I just got off the phone with the John Deere dealership and talking to the service guy, and he says, yeah, we'll send somebody out. We had an issue similar to that here on one not too long ago, and he says you're safe to turn it off because you're not supposed to turn them off when they're regenerating, and usually they'll scream at you if you do, which that thing does. Screams at me if I turn it off when it's regenerating. This one didn't scream at me, so I turned it off like he said. They'll be sending somebody out. So for all your Greta and Al Gore fucking bullshit, I know I'm gonna have a service charge, service call charge plus whatever their hourly rate is, which I don't even know anymore. $130, $140 an hour for the road. My cigar is out. It's just, we're so beyond stupid in this country. So I'm on Instagram, which a lot of you know, because you follow me there too. And I reposted this post in my story, I don't know when it was, 2-3 weeks ago or whatever. And of course, fact checkers, fuck you, fact checkers. It's usually the liberal media that does the fact checking. Somebody put a thing up about the Plymouth Rock, how since 1620 it's been sitting at sea level and hasn't, the seas haven't risen to cover it up. So I did a little of my own investigating on that, because the fact checkers are like, well, that's not true. It's not been sitting in the same place. They were right in that aspect, because the fact checkers try and find everything to prove shit wrong. But the Plymouth Rock has been sitting in the same fucking place since 1920, and it's sitting at sea level, okay? Well, according to Al Gore and Bernie and AOC and that little twat Greta Thunberg or whatever the fuck her name is, the seas, we only got 10 years. We've been hearing that from Al Gore since what, 1991 or something, when him and Slick Willie were running for president and vice president. We only got 10 years. 10 years. Al used to put up his little videos there of the seas rising and swallowing up New York City. I know I've told you this before. All this bullshit. Well, that was over 30 years ago, Al. Now we got these other dumbasses. 10 to 12 years, 10 to 12 years. That's it. That's it. I remember reading something from 1989. 12 to 11 years by the year 2000, you know. It doesn't fucking ever come true. Now we're hearing about, oh, how hot it is. Hottest summer. Oh, this horrible heat. It's climate change. I don't know about where you live, but in the summer, it fucking gets to 90 sometimes, you know? And out of the 3 local channels that we can get for our local news that I watch, only one of them, during the weather, every day gives what the record high and record low for that day is. So I watch that one. And I try to only watch for the weather because, you know, I'm so sick of the vid bullshit and the liberal media's bullshit on that. You know, that kind of goes along with the whole climate change bullshit. Just keep pounding it down people's throat till they believe it. Yeah, well, we see how well that's working with the ones that are ended up in the hospital right now being the ones that are getting multiple in the old arm, but different story. So every record high that I see when they do the evening news is like somewhere between the 1930s and the early 1980s. If it's so hot last year, wouldn't our record highs this year be from last year? So next year, I guess our record highs should be from 2022, right? Because just it's so hot. Listen to them. But therein lies the problem. You fucking idiots out there, and I'm not talking to the, you know, probably the majority of you following me, because you wouldn't be following me if you were a fucking idiot, but the fucking idiots out there who just believe whatever they hear. Oh, goodness, the government says I need to get 12 shots to be healthy. I'll go do it. Oh, the government says it's hot. It's climate change. I got to go buy an electric car with a $20,000 battery in it that I won't be able to afford to, you know, change when the battery goes dead. And furthermore, where does that fucking battery go after it dies? Oh, and all the elements inside that battery, you know, all of the things that need to be dug out of the ground to make that battery, you know, the things that are being dug out of the ground in China and then put on a big fucking ship which is blowing lots of black smoke out of it for, I don't know, what, 3 to 6 weeks to get over here? Just like all the shit that's in the store that says made in China. How the fuck do you think that's getting here? On an electric plane? Or an electric boat? Oh my God, I'm just so tired of spending money that we shouldn't have to spend because of fucking stupidity. You know, it's kind of like you dumbasses that wouldn't vote for Trump because your feelings were hurt. The mean tweeter. Oh, it's so bad. You know, so you either voted for Biden, get out of my face, bug, or you wrote in Mickey Mouse or some other stupid ass thing, you know? Yeah, well, you remember when Trump was called a racist piece of shit for building that wall? Have you seen just here the last few days the headlines in the news, which you probably haven't because, you know, lamestream media doesn't want you to see it. It's just a little blip and it's gone. That Biden is now going to finish the gaps in the wall in Arizona. Huh, I wonder why. Because the fucking illegal aliens are overtaking this country at 2 million a year, like in 2021 across the border, and they're saying 2022 could be even more. You got libtard Democratic mayors like that Bowser in DC and this dumbass in New York City, Adams, who are now bitching because, you know, it's straining the system, all these illegals. I give that Governor Abbott in Texas credit for busting their asses up to these cities. Let the libtards take care of it. So it's a bad thing when it's in your backyard, but yet all them small towns on the southern border, it's okay when they're overrun with them, right? The fucking hypocrisy is just bullshit. Oh, I'm just so tired of it. And speaking of the hypocrisy, how about the Obamas and all these other people, you know, buying all these oceanfront properties, building these 10, 12, $20 million mansions that are oceanfront? Well, if the oceans are rising, why would all these people do that? What about John Kerry and all the rest of them who have to You know, it's okay for them to get into their planes that are spewing all this carbon because they need to get places fast. So their private jets are A-okay. Just like the fucking celebrities who do the same thing, like that little twat Taylor Swift, who's turned into quite the little activist. But yet, I saw a thing where they gave the top 10 celebrities who are polluters in plain English. She was number one, flying all over the world and whatnot. Do you get it yet, folks? That's one of my favorite sayings on Instagram. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting it yet? Rules for thee, but not for me. So please, wake the fuck up. So, just to clarify also. Alright, like my 6420, 7230, those are pre the regeneration filters, you know, exhaust and all that horse shit. So we don't ever have any issues with them. You've seen all my issues with the 8235R, which is also a 2012, same as the 5115. That's when they came up with that great brainiac idea of the regeneration exhaust system. Now, the 8295 is deaf. The Combine is deaf. I have no problem with deaf because they seem to have figured it out when they went to deaf. Now, that's my opinion, because I know some of you are going to say you have issues with deaf. Whatever. You be you, I'll be me. I don't have any issues with deaf. I haven't had any issues with the deaf machines, but the freaking regenerate, and they regenerate too, but the regeneration ones in between the older models and the newer deaf stuff, the deaf seems to work better when it's pumping the deaf in to make, you know, make it fire, we'll say, for the regeneration, as opposed to the fuel being pumped in there to do it. It just, I don't know. It just, my opinion, again, but I have issues with the non-deaf. I don't have issues with the deaf. But what I have issues with is, why did we do any of this bullshit in the first place? Because I don't think we really needed to. But, I don't know. So, this is my video. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on right now. Waiting for them, obviously. Oh, here's a little something else I'll take a couple minutes on. Just, you know, there's another farmer on YouTube and Instagram, and I don't generally do this, but it just, I normally like watching the guy, but I'm to the point that I almost can't stand watching the guy. He might be like a state just south and east of me. I'm not going to use a name, but you'll all figure it out. Or a lot of you will. Who just, you know, they're in kind of a bad drought area right now. Which, like 2016, 2020, we were droughty. Our crops weren't as good as normal. They were down probably 15%, maybe 20%. I don't know. We survived. Some people have some drought. Some people have too much moisture. We were wet as hell in the spring. Now we're actually getting dry and could use some moisture. But we're farmers. We bitch, you know. Too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. I mean, our livelihood depends on Mother Nature, unfortunately. But we don't, it's not 9 to 5. Thank you for the paycheck, no matter what we did that week. But, and I'm not condemning any of those people. So, you know, don't get your panties in a bunch. But, and also thank you to all the new subscribers. I just happened to notice we're over 4,000 now. But, so, like I said, buckle up and stay with us. We've got some exciting things coming. But anyways, back to that farmer south of us here who's having issues, who last year supposedly had 300 bushel corn, and this year he was going to have at least 200 bushel corn, and now he's to the point where even if he makes 100 bushel the acre corn, he'll still make money because he didn't spend that much money on fertilizer like all the rest of us conventional farmers who just listen to the fertilizer company and go ahead and put 650 pounds of fertilizer on. Dude, again, my motto, you be you, I'll be me. But what's that shit all about? Okay, I put 250 pounds of dry fertilizer on through the planter. Things are looking pretty good. Then I go back through and side dress, whatever, generally 5-6 weeks later, 4 to 6 weeks later, this year, when I could get on the ground, as wet as it was. And I put on 150 pounds of anhydrous. Well, 250, 150. That's a long ways from 650 when you're lumping us all in together. and he does some sort of soil health type stuff, which whatever, you be you, I'll be me. But you know, yeah, I chisel plow, I field cultivate, I plant my corn. My beans on minimum till. I hit it with a high-speed disc, you've all seen, and then I drill. So we all have different kinds of soils, climates, stuff like that. You be you, I'll be me. But this bullshit of lumping everyone together because they don't do what you do or something, I don't get that, you know. Especially when you ought to watch your previous videos before you make statements like that, because you're telling people how you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on fertilizer and making all these foliar feed passes and, you know, your special sauce, whatever the hell that is. But so just, you know, chill. I mean, if you have shit crops this year because Mother Nature stuck it in your ass, everybody's been there. Just go down with the ship and admit it. I mean, you know, we can't control Mother Nature. We can control our costs by, you know, not spending $650 on fertilizer, which per acre, which, you know, I don't know anybody other than people that might get into a yield contest because, you know, they want to get 350, 400 bushel corn, so they make 10 passes across their fields and all that, which whatever. I mean, they want to win a contest. But are they going to go out and do that on 500 acres of corn? No. They're going to go out and do that on the whatever it is for the qualify for the contest, half an acre, 1 acre, whatever. But they ain't going to do it on everything. But it is what it is. So I don't know. I may end this video, or if the guy shows up and figures this out, I may let you know how that goes.